opening question.
Imagine this. Everything is taken from you. Your possessions, your reputation, perhaps even your freedom. You find yourself in a life you did not choose, and yet you are bound to it. What remains then? Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, lived exactly this fate. He was a slave, subject to the whims of his master, seemingly powerless over his own life. And yet he discovered something that made him free, a freedom no one could ever take away. He said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but the opinions we have about them." But what does that mean for us? Can we truly be free? Not because the world is fair, but because our way of thinking makes us untouchable? Today, I invite you to step with me into the world of Epictetus, to see why true freedom does not begin outside of us, but within the posture of the mind.
Poetic reflection. There are moments when life binds us with chains, not of iron, but of thought. The voice that whispers, "You are trapped." The memory that insists, "You are powerless." I remember times when I believed I could change nothing. The weight of work, the expectations of others, the feeling of being steered by a world I couldn't control. And yet, sometimes, in the pause of a single breath, a crack opens in the cage. A thought. Maybe I cannot command everything, but I can command how I think. This is not an escape. It is a rising within, a standing tall, even when the world presses you down. Epictetus lived without outer freedom, and yet he spoke words that carried through the centuries, because he knew freedom begins not with broken chains, but with liberated thoughts. And perhaps exactly there lies the art of being calm and strong, not in changing the world, but in changing ourselves.
Who was Epictetus? Epictetus was born around 50 CE in Hierapolis as a slave. His life began in bondage, yet in his mind he discovered something greater than any chain. He listened to the teachings of Stoic philosophers, and even in his condition, he found a way to live their wisdom. Later, when he was freed, he became a teacher himself. His students recorded his words in the discourses and the handbook. His thinking was clear, direct, almost sharp, not abstract theory, but practical philosophy, a school of the mind, open to anyone, whether emperor or slave. He taught to distinguish between what is in our control and what is not, to see virtue as the only true good, to refuse slavery to external things. Epictetus's very life stood as proof. Freedom is not possession. Freedom is an attitude.
The dichotomy of control. One of Epictetus's central insights is this distinction. What lies within my power? What does not? Within my power, my judgments, my choices, my responses. Beyond my power, the weather, the actions of others, illness, death. Most people, Epictetus said,
entangle themselves in struggle over things they can never command. From this grows stress, anger, fear. The art is to see clearly. If it is within my power, act. If it is not, accept. This is not passivity, but release from futile battles. How often do we torment ourselves with the thought, "What will they think of me?" Yet Epictetus reminds us, their thoughts are theirs, not ours. Thus, the dichotomy of control becomes an inner compass, and stress transforms into clarity.
Freedom of thought. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This freedom is not political, not material. It is mental. When we tie our peace to outer circumstances, to praise, to success, to possessions, we hand away our freedom. But when we understand that our attitude is untouchable, we gain a strength greater than any power outside. For Epictetus, philosophy was no luxury. It was training, exercise for the mind, a daily practice to stand strong when life puts us to the test. Thus, freedom of thought becomes an invisible fortress. Not cold, but clear. Not rigid, but alive. And perhaps that is the invitation for us today, to no longer feel like prisoners of the world, but creators of our own stance.
Mirror of daily life.
Work pressure. Your boss criticizes you harshly. Instinct, anger, hurt. But Epictetus would ask, is his opinion in your power? No, but your response is. Traffic jam. You sit stuck, time slipping away. Frustration builds. But can you move the cars? No. Yet you can choose to breathe, to listen to music, to practice calm. Conflict in relationships. A fight erupts. Words cut deep. Epictetus's wisdom, not every blow must be answered. Freedom means not reacting blindly, but choosing with awareness. Loss. A loved one dies. Pain is inevitable. But Epictetus would say, we grieve, yes, but we also remember. Death is not within our control. So we learn to carry with dignity what is greater than us. In this way, life does not become lighter, but we become lighter within it.
Quiet ending.
Epictetus taught that freedom does not begin where the world treats us fairly, but where we become masters of our own thinking. Perhaps that means true strength is not found in control, but in letting go. And maybe, as you hear these words, you ask yourself, which things in my life torment me, though they are not within my power? And if you recognize them, could you begin today to loosen those chains of the mind? For perhaps the greatest gift of Stoicism is this: not that life grows easier, but that we grow lighter in life.